Okay. So you've probably heard the terminology limiting beliefs being bandied around, especially if you're very into self-development. But they're very real. And we often put these limiting beliefs and these blocks ourselves. So we can probably see that they're there. We probably know they're there. But often we don't know whose voice it is. We don't know why they're there. And we have to do a little bit of digging. Because like I said, that ADHD gold is all within us, but we have to dig for gold always. We have to mine for it and pull up some layers, make a bit of a mess. And that's what we're going to do here. So when you think about limiting beliefs, I want you to just write down whatever comes up for you, what those beliefs are. I'm not qualified enough. I'm not clever enough. I'm not organized enough. I haven't got enough money to do this. And when you're hearing these beliefs come up about what it is that you want, what it is that you want out of life, what it is that you're desiring, whose voice are you hearing? Because very often we think it's our voice, but actually it's someone else's voice. It's someone else's belief that's just been imparted on us from a generational perspective, maybe a societal, cultural, religious. Maybe it's just our role in our family. The expectations that have been put on us. It's just not what we do. It's just not who we are. And I want you to have a little think about, what is your family story? Because we, like it or not, we come from families, you may be living thousands of miles away from them. You may not speak to half your family, you may not relate to them. There may be all sorts of things. I know for a fact that there's no one person with ADHD that doesn't have some form of sort of dysfunction, chaos going on in their family history. And that is almost like it's like an etching, it's like a carving within us that is very hard to sand down unless we're aware of it. So I want you to have a little think about what I would say, like the phrases that you heard in your family. What did you hear a lot of? And very typically it's lack, it's limitation, it's victimhood. And these are the things that hold us back. And when I talk about lack, I mean, that's not for us. We can't do that. That's not how we were brought up. That's not the type of thing our family does. Or that's for other people. Well, there's no way I can do that. What's the point in trying? And we limit ourselves and we see ourselves in lack and go, oh, if I do that, it's not going to be as good as someone else's or anything like that. We kind of have this energy that we need to break out of because it's not our energy. They're holding on to their generational patterns. And if you think about, depending on how old you are and how old your parents are and grandparents would be or were, we've got a huge amount of fallout, generational fallouts that we're holding on to, especially from war, from poverty, from anything that we've experienced from a cultural perspective, and that carries through us. Trauma carries through the generations. It may not even be our trauma that we're holding on to, and it can feel like very heavy energy. And sometimes we need to release it. Sometimes we feel our parents' energy on us. And we feel their lack and their limitations and what they've held themselves back for, what their beliefs are. And I know for myself, I just want to shake it off. I'm just like, oh, it's not mine. It's not mine. But I had to make that choice. I had to step into awareness and go, no, that's not how I want to show up in the world. I want to show up differently. I want to be a different parent. I want to work differently. I want to see abundance. I want to see, I don't want to live in a victimhood mentality. I want to see my strengths. I want to work on my strengths, and I want to do that for my kids as well. So this is just an awareness exercise for you to notice, what are you not honoring? What are you ready to let go of? What have you been ignoring? What do you know, but you've been maybe too afraid to admit it? And very often in this situation is that you might be around that person whose voice it is, and that person may do something to your body. You may come out and you might feel exhausted, drained, angry, irritated. There may be a toxicity there. There may be a heaviness that you come out and you've got a headache. You may find yourself making excuses that you don't want to be around that person. And that is a sign that your energy is misaligned, that you are noticing, but perhaps you're shutting it down. Because listen, you may still love this person. This person may still be someone that is in your life. And you can still love someone, but put boundaries up. You can still love someone and not absorb their energy. So this is a conscious, intentional thing where when we start noticing the beliefs and we notice their energy and we notice their story, it's almost like we put a protective layer over ourselves. You know, if you're a spiritual person, there's a way of doing it where you can sort of close your eyes and visualize almost like a white light. You know, you only put yourself in a box of white light. So when you're with that person, you can do something called a cord cutting meditation. So actually in a visualization, before you see that person or call them on the phone or anything, it's like an energetic cutting. And I found that very, very helpful, because that person's going to always have their story and their beliefs. But we can choose how we react to that and how we respond to that. And we can change the subject, we can dismiss it, we can move on to something else. We can maybe have a conversation where we don't discuss our careers with them, we don't discuss our business, we don't discuss our relationship, we don't discuss where you want to parent or how we want to live our life. And we just kind of like put a boundary up, and that's, you know, so this is all about reclaiming your power and not allowing other people to take it away from you. And again, this is all about peace and freedom. And I want to say peace, I mean inner peace. And really kind of going back to, okay, that inner peace to me is going to be my guidance. That's going to be my way of knowing if I'm going in the right direction or not. And then I want you to start having a little think about why and when are you hiding your true self? When are you not being authentic and living with integrity? And perhaps again, it's related to that person, those people, when you're in a certain situation. And what is your worst case scenario for not being authentic? What is it? What's the protection for? And I want you to understand this again. It's this evolutionary way we've been brought up, is that we, as a race, as a human race, we are always in safety mode. What doesn't feel safe? Okay, body shuts down. Oh, sorry, hold on. Let me move that back. There we go. So what is it that you are noticing? What's triggering you when you're in that worst case scenario? Okay, just going to double check the chat box, make sure that everyone's okay. Okay. Yeah. Don't ever mistrust or always trust your energy. Always trust what you feel in your body, because when your shoulders become restricted and your breath gets tighter and your stomach starts doing flips and all of that, that is your body's wisdom trying to tell you something. And we push it away and we go, oh no, I can't do that because it's a family member. I can't do that because that's my best friend. And I can't do that because, you know, we've grown up together, or I love that person. But sometimes we all have our own paths and our journeys to go on. And it's not someone else's journey, it's our own journey. Okay. So as I mentioned before, working with the fear in the nervous system. So our nervous system is the first thing to feel fear. We sense it, anything with regards to, walking down a dark alleyway, and all of a sudden we start getting a bit nervous. We're on our own, we're in a dark alleyway. We know that, no one can see us or hear us. And it doesn't matter if you're physically in a dark alleyway or mentally in this dark alleyway, you are going to feel the physiological feelings of fear. And everyone feels that again differently. So when you start thinking about wanting to step into what you desire, when you start thinking about it, what do you feel in your body? Is it worry? Is it rejection? Is it being laughed at? Is it being judged? Is it being removed from your community, your friendship group, your family? And then very often, and I think this is quite prominent with ADHD, is that we often block things because we fear success. And we don't trust ourselves to have success because our imposter syndrome can be really strong, or perhaps we have this root feeling of I'm not good enough. And that is literally what guides you. I'm not good enough to do that. I'm not organized. I don't have enough attention to detail. I change my mind all the time. I'm not decisive enough. I'm too impulsive. I'm saying this for myself because I had this. This was literally my, what I talked about nonstop in my head. It was just there. So I block success. Well, I can't do that because other people do that. Look how organized they are and they can do it all. There's no way I'd be able to do that. And then what else is going on with us is, well, they've got it, so I can't have it. They're doing really well with that. So that means that there's not enough space for me. There's not enough room in the industry. There's just no way I can do that because someone else is doing it so well. So what's the point of me trying? And this scarcity mentality has been around forever. But if you think about competition, my local high street, there's about 5 hairdressers. And then they open again another hairdresser. And guess what? Every single Saturday, they're full. Every nail place that opens is always full. So that's just our brain just trying to keep us safe and trying to keep us small. But actually, when we change it, we shift this scarcity mentality and we start thinking about abundance and we start thinking about being of service and who needs us. And what am I holding back from giving and offering to the world? It's a really powerful reframe because we can get into our own heads and we get into our ego and we start thinking, well, there's just no point. And so-and-so's doing it so well. So what's the point of me doing it? And then actually we think, well, our unique take is the way we do it. So I can open up another hairdresser, but I'm going to be the hairdresser and I'm going to be doing things differently. And I'm going to be talking to my customers differently and communicating and cutting hair differently. And this is the way you have to see it, that you are holding yourself back from being of service to other people who need you when you get into your head and you start overthinking, going, what's the point? I'm just not going to do it. And this relates to so many things, so many different things in life, that if we don't try and we don't step into it, we're holding ourselves back from meeting our soulmates, meeting a new community of people, offering help, volunteering, being creative. Like this, I think when we think that this world is only enough, there's only enough room for X, Y, and Z. But actually, the more we put passion and love and joy and creativity into the world, that has a ripple effect. So there's enough anger, sadness, resentment, violence, bitterness, toxicity. There is enough of that, and there's always going to be. Why can't we replace that with doing something, you know, from a passionate perspective? Why can't we do that from a joyful perspective? And this was a really big one for me when I started reframing, because I kind of, you know, when I started, I thought, there's so many coaches out there. There's so many people doing this, and there's so many people doing that, and sending emails and doing workshops. And then I realized, obviously, you know, as I was starting to understand about ADHD and started working more in that space, I realized how many women just like me needed help. You know, I needed that help, and I had coaching, and I went through the whole coaching experience way before I was going to be a coach. And I realized how helpful the different people were in my journey. You know, it wasn't just one coach, it was a person here and a person there, and a spiritual guide and a EFT practitioner. And between all these people, they guided me on this path. But not once did I ever turn around and go, well, there was too many of them. There was too many, and they shouldn't all be there. They shouldn't all be stepping into their power. I was just like, this is amazing. All these empowered women doing things that they're passionate about, that they're good at, and being abundant and running successful businesses. Like, why do we think that we can't do what we love, wake up every morning joyful and happy and excited and energized, and make money? Like, we've been told something in the hierarchy of this patriarchal society that if we do something that we love, we can't make money. If we wake up every morning excited and passionate about our career, our work, our life, it means that something's going to go wrong. It means that, you know, we're being too greedy, we're asking for too much. But actually, it's a God-given right to be happy. And why shouldn't we be successful and abundant? Why shouldn't we celebrate this? And I just want you maybe to step into this shift of energy and see what that feels in your body when you start thinking, well, why shouldn't I do this? Why shouldn't I be of service? Why can't I wake up happy and energized and excited and be making money? Right, just make sure I'm okay for time. And this workshop, I guess, is an opportunity for you guys to make, you know, crack yourself open a little bit, because it's very easy to walk around with this sort of exterior on us, and to walk around with this kind of buffering and layers, because we've protected ourselves for a long time. We've had to protect ourselves. First of all, maybe we've not understood what's been going on. Maybe we've been told by other people that we're not good enough, that we've got to try harder, that that's not the way to do things, that our systems aren't correct, that the way we do things is wrong, that maybe we believe that we're a little bit broken because our brains just don't seem to line up to the way we've been told, you know, to do things. And so I truly believe that when we have this opportunity of understanding the neurodivergence and understanding what it is, we have to crack ourselves open, because it is a new opportunity. And this fear voice is always going to be there. We're always going to have this fear voice. It's every day. But our job is to see it, recognize it, go, thank you, and notice what you're doing. You're trying to keep me safe. Thank you for being there and maybe showing me some of the pitfalls, showing me perhaps what could go wrong, but actually I'm going to make a choice to not listen. I'm going to push forwards. And the more we speak to it and allow it to have its say, and well, we're going to do this in a minute with a little bit with tapping, we allow it to have its say. It's not there literally in shackles and chains. And remember that when we grow, when we expand, when we develop, when we start getting curious and asking questions and reading and learning about new ways of being, the voice can get a little bit louder, because it's getting scared. It's getting scared. It's like, uh-oh, you know, she's going to take us out of our comfort zone. We don't like being out of our comfort zone. And what's she going to do now? Like, this doesn't feel safe. I don't know this territory. And I genuinely spot it now, and I see it. Like, even before today, I was terrified. 2-hour workshop, doing something like this, 30 people have signed up. I was absolutely terrified, but I realized that this was me stepping out of my comfort zone again, moving, growing, working in an area that I've not done before, publicly. I work one-to-one with clients, helping them sort of entrepreneurship and business and all that. But to come out here and really kind of like do this for 2 hours, absolutely terrifying. But I could either have been like, no, I'm not doing it, shut it all down, cancel it, or I've had to step into the fear and step into the discomfort. And the biggest driver for me was, if I can help, I hope all of you or some of you, if I can create a ripple effect, if I can help trigger an idea or a change of mind, or give you some self-belief that you can do it, then my job's done. But I had to step into out of my comfort zone to do that, because for me, being of service and helping and guiding and empowering women is my passion. So we can get lost in that cycle, or we can choose not to. And we just get curious and we get compassionate and we acknowledge the thoughts and we witness them and we notice them. And then we just say, we can literally go back to your heart, back to your stomach, and just say, it's okay, you're safe. Right now you're safe, and I understand what's going on, but you are expanding and you're developing, and this is what happens. Because our brain is much happier when everything is in order and we've got control. It's the same reason why people are scared of flying. People are scared of flying because it's a lack of control. That's very often what it is. Yes, obviously, we're in an aeroplane in the middle of the sky, and that's a scary thing. But essentially, it's the lack of control. So this is what I just want you to start thinking about, like, when you're being ruffled a little bit, when the foundations are shaking and it's the lack of control. What is it? Are you going to hand your notice in? Are you going to change jobs? Are you going to start a business? Are you going to move countries? Are you going to start a new relationship? You're going to leave a relationship? Whatever that is, it's all very scary when you're in flux, when you don't know what's going on. But it's up to us to make a choice to trust and have faith that if we're being guided by something physically in our body and something keeps coming back to us, then we have to honor it. A lot of people don't honor it. People that say to me, I wished I'd done this 20 years ago. I wish I'd made that decision 20 years ago. I look at these generations now and I wish I'd, done X, Y, and Z. My grandma's one of them. She just turned 93 and an amazing and incredible woman, but she has so many regrets and she sees so many lost opportunities because of obligation, because of she did what was expected of her, what society expected of her, not what she wanted to do. Okay. So what are we on now? Okay, we've got 10 more minutes and then we're going to have a little break. So failure is going to be part of this journey. And I don't think there's one person here that won't be able to put their hand up and go, that felt like a failure, or I tried that and that felt like a failure. But I really do believe, and I've heard this life's rejection is God's protection, that when things don't go right, it was always meant to be. A failed business, a job that we had to leave, a failed relationship, something that we tried that didn't quite work. It's always going to be a reason, and there's going to be a learning from it. And we're never ever going to fail anything without taking a learning. So anything that you have believed that you failed at, that hasn't worked for you, this is going to be an opportunity for you to learn, to take what you've learned and to move forwards. So actually, again, we see failure as something that is good for us, because we knew that anyone that hasn't failed is going to fall really, really hard. And I love what Marie Forleo, who's an amazing female entrepreneur, says, is that she says it's a faithful attempt in learning. So we've got to recognize that a failure is not one big catastrophic event, or it's not characteristic. It's just part and parcel of a journey. And we connect those dots and we look back and we get curious. So if there's something that's coming to mind right now, something that's coming to mind and you are thinking that was a bloody failure, well, I can't do that. There's evidence I can't start another business. There's evidence I can't, go back to studying. What did you learn from that situation? What did you learn that is going to help you move forwards? Because it's always going to be something. I mean, I can list on two hands things that I've done, which I looked at the time and went, that was a failure. I can't believe it. And I really struggled to pick myself up, really did. And every, huge entrepreneur out there who is running incredible businesses always has a failed business behind them, has a failed venture, failed project, or they started the business thinking it was going to be one thing, and then they changed it. And then it's, so this is where we get the resilience. We keep trying, we get back up. It's just part and parcel of it. Building our resilience is one of the biggest parts in really growing, because we're never going to grow without feeling like we failed in some respect.